Hi and welcome to another exciting edition of the Property Show. We kick off with our property pick of the week, exploring investment options to consider in the 13 million shillings basket along Kiambu Road, an area with compelling demographics, as well as the Thika Superhighway, a neighborhood with a solid client base. On the expert segment, we continue the legal conversation on the uncharted waters in the process of property acquisition.
If the seller is a company, you will need a certificate of incorporation, you will need the PIN certificate of the company.
Our guest on our home ownership segment shares a twist on her experience of getting onto the property ladder and the most important lessons she learned along the way.
I always say you have to have certain categories in your investments. You have to have security, and there are certain things that go into that security basket, and a home is one of them.
The accessory spot is all about making your home a personal haven with exciting, classic, and elegant trends expected to change the face of our interior spaces.
Most times when people walk into the shop, they're like, wow. So it's very good, and we like that we can offer people that. And we want people to have that wow effect every time they enter their house.
Later on, catch interesting insights on whether it is a myth or a reality to buy property off-plan.
Long time ago, I decided when I want to buy a house, I want to buy a house when it's off-plan. One thing is cheaper. When you want to wait until they finish, it's another thing.
Let's get started. Remember to interact with us on our social media handles. As always, there is something for everyone. Our property pick of the week connects the dots on investment options available in the 13 million shillings bracket. First, we head off to Juja South Estate, 2 kilometers away from the Thika Superhighway, a neighborhood with good infrastructural development, shopping complexes, good supply of schools, hospitals, as well as a great community with a solid client base. This project of 3-bedroom townhouses has amenities that include a swimming pool, clubhouse, and a children's playground. Let's see what you'll get with 13 million shillings at play.
Juja South Estate is situated 2.7 kilometers from the Thika Superhighway. It's a 5-minute drive from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology flyover and 32 kilometers from Nairobi Central Business District. Major infrastructure in the area is Thika Superhighway, Thika Railway, and the Eastern Bypass. Educational centers in close proximity include Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, Mangu High School, and Kenyatta University. Shopping centers within the vicinity are Juja City Mall, Garden City Mall, Thika Road Mall, and Ananas Mall, with all the major banks represented. For recreational purposes, Oldonyo Sabuk National Park is within the vicinity. Juja South Estate is located in the refreshing and natural landscapes of Juja, with stunning views of Kilimambogo set on 30 acres of flat land. The pristine development will consist of 81 3- and 4-bedroom townhouses with DSQ and 176 2 and 3 bedroom apartments and penthouses. The completed Phase 1 consists of 32 3 and 4 bedroom townhouses and 80 apartments and penthouses. The design and concept leads to masterpiece development that has been excellently designed to benefit from natural environment. Accommodation includes lounge cum dining, kitchen with ample storage cabinets, master ensuite, and DSQ for the townhouses. Amenities include landscape gardens, boundary wall with electric fence, children's play areas, gym, swimming pool and clubhouse, shopping complex, Carbro paved driveways, borehole and county council water, ample parking, and enhanced security. Each of the 3 and 4 bedroom townhouses enjoys 1/8 of an acre. The 3 bedroom townhouse has a plinth area of 193.6 square meters.
Looking to invest in the property market, Juja South Estate is worth considering with a rental return of over 50,000 shillings per month. And guess what? With an extra $1 million, you could get a 4-bedroom townhouse. From Juja South Estate, we head off to Kiambu Road, a blue zone area popular among young professionals in close proximity to beautiful sceneries from Karura Forest to the Kiambu Golf Club. In this sought-after neighborhood with compelling demographics, we check out a modern 3-bedroom apartment complex with beautiful detailed finishes and top-notch security, Red Rose Gardens. Let's have a look at what more is on offer.
Red Rose Gardens, a modern apartment complex located in Thidigwa along Kiambu Road, adjacent to Quick Mart Supermarket, 100 meters from the main road. The development consists of 43 3-bedroom apartments plus a DSQ with a plinth area of 154 square meters. Accommodation features include a spacious living room area with wide sliding windows that leads to the balcony area, large windows letting in natural light, separate dining area, a common cloakroom for the guests, modern kitchen with granite countertops, top and bottom cabinets for storage in the kitchen, wood floors and tile finishing making the interior aesthetics more appealing, spacious bedrooms with closets for storage. Other amenities shall include installed solar panels for water heating, in-house gym plus a social hall, perimeter wall with electric fencing and CCTV cameras for security, connection to the Nairobi Water Mains water supply, an underground 60,000 litres water reservoir tank, plus extra 1,000-litre water tanks for each unit. A total of 90 parking spots, providing 2 per unit and extra ones for guests. Power backup generator for the common areas. This project is expected to be completed by December 2019.
It's a fact. In real estate, the 3 most important driving factors are location, location, location. You can always bank on projects along Kiambu Road and the Thika Superhighway. At First Avenue, we have projects across board in every price range. Just give us a call or visit our offices and we'll be happy to guide you. Next, last week we started a legal conversation on the uncharted waters in the process of property acquisition. Today, we continue that conversation, highlighting documents required during a property transaction. Let's hear more. What documentations do I need to see from the developer's side?
Now that is very interesting, and that is why it is important for you to have legal advice before, because the documents that you need are crucial to ensure that the property is transferred successfully into your name. So what you will be looking for are definitely an original title. You will need to have the signed transfer documentation. This could be in the form of a lease or the actual transfer. You will need the identity documentation from the seller. So that would be, if the seller is a company, you will need a certificate of incorporation, you will need the PIN certificate of the company, you will need the identity documentation of the directors who have signed the transfer documentation, you will need their PIN certificates, then you will need passport photos. If the seller is an individual, apart from the identity documentation, passport photos, and PIN certificates, you will also need a spousal consent, because you will not be able to transfer if there is no affidavit from the spouse, either confirming that this is matrimonial property and therefore they've given their consent, or indicating that it is not matrimonial property, so it can be transferred. You will also need a slip either of exemption of payment with respect to capital gains tax. This is important because as the system is right now, you can not proceed to pay stamp duty without the capital gains tax having been paid or the seller having been exempted from paying. Apart from that, you will need clearances. These are either rates or rent clearances, if applicable to that property. Then you will need the consent to transfer. This is either the consent from the relevant body, so it could be the county government consent, or it could be the Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning consent to transfer the property. So all these documents are necessary. If it is within a development, you'll also need the management company consent. So this, you find that can become a challenge, especially if you're buying into a project and you're finding that you're buying from someone who had bought before and they hadn't been paying service charge. Then you get to the point of transferring the property and the management company refuses to give its consent. So it is important to get that. If you're also buying into a development and there is a management company, then there's the share certificate that entitles you to a share in the management company. That is also an important completion document. So what I'm saying is that depending on the nature of property that you're buying, there is a whole list of completion documents that you'll require, floor plans and whatnot. So it is important to be guided through that process.
Wow. So that's why we actually need to work with a lawyer.
Yes.
On the other side, me as a buyer,
Yes.
do I have sight of what's going on with the land in terms of, can a developer go and take a mortgage or mortgage the land and I'm already in the process of buying a unit and he doesn't tell me? How do I get sight of that?
Now, what you will find in most of the instances is coming up with a development is an expensive venture.
Very expensive.
It's very expensive. So what you will find is that developers ideally have to take loans to be able to finance construction, which is not necessarily a bad thing. What you just need to know is that there is actually a loan that exists on that land. And how do you do this? You will do searches. When you conduct a search on that property, if the developer has taken a loan and has secured the loan with that property, it will show. You will see an encumbrance registered against that property. The other thing is conduct a search on the developer, especially if it is a company. If you do a search at the company's registry, then it will actually show you any securities that have been taken by that company. Now, armed with that knowledge, what will happen is that your lawyer will then put in clauses in the agreement that will safeguard your interests. And what clauses am I talking about? First of all, the agreements, there will have to be a memorandum of consent by the bank which financed the loan, so that the bank from the very initial stages,
From the onset,
yes,
everybody is clear.
Yes, that
The buyer is clear, the seller is clear, and the bank is clear.
Because in those mortgages that these developers take, there is a clause that actually obligates them to ensure that proceeds from the sale of the units are channeled through the bank, and the bank can only be aware that the proceeds are being channeled through it through the sales documentation. Apart from that, we have just talked about completion documents. If the property has a loan on it, then one of the completion documents must be a partial discharge, because in most instances, when you finish purchasing your house, most probably the developer has not finished paying for it, but the bank can partially discharge your unit, so that then in case anything happens and the developer is unable to pay,
And there's a
your
default.
unit, yes,
My unit is safe.
it's partially discharged. So then it puts you in a safer position. Once a unit is partially discharged, that partial discharge must be registered at the registry to show that therefore this unit is completely free of the encumbrances that the developer has, so that in the event of a default, then your unit has already been secured and it's out of the entire security. So those are the safeguards that you would put. So ideally what then you would want to see is that the monies are channeled through the escrow account. So the developer is not telling you, please pay, if it is cash, pay in this other account. You insist that the monies go through the escrow account. You insist that there is a partial discharge. And if you are a cash purchaser, then you have to ensure that the partial discharge comes in with the exchange of cash, so that then you are at no point are you exposed.
In the event one did not go through that process, and now they find out that the developer is in a huge debt and they are about to lose everything.
Yes.
They are about to lose the entire development.
Yes.
What next?
It is a very unfortunate situation to find yourself in, because what you will find is, even if you take the process before the partial discharge is issued, you are exposed, and you could actually be aware of the loan, but then the loan is called up before the partial discharge is issued. The laws of Kenya gives priority to secured creditors, so that the bank in this case has priority over the asset. I think the important thing for you to do, there is the bank on one side who have an interest over the property, and their interest is superior to you as the purchaser, because you've not yet been registered. You have the developer on the other side, and you have you as the purchaser. What requires to be done is a sit down. Let the parties sit and negotiate a position that would be win-win for all parties. And how can this be done? Why am I proposing a win-win situation? Because if you let the bank then sell, then what will happen is the bank will sell, and anything over and above the bank loan is then what will be distributed to the purchaser.
So you lose the house.
You lose the house, you know, and it's not a good position to find yourself in. So it is important to engage the bank. Find out, and you know, the purchasers have to then now to be very proactive in this situation. Engage with the bank and find out what is the position of the developer. Can there be a restructuring of the loan, for example, so that you're giving the developer more time to pay up? And then number two, can the purchasers come up, maybe raise even more funds? We have had a development where the purchasers came together and raised funds to pay off the loan, and then now sue the developer, so that once you've secured your house, then you follow up with the developer to refund you the monies that you had paid. So the best thing in this instance is for the parties to sit down and negotiate a middle ground. You will find that even in court, there is the laws now require for mediation before the dispute can be taken to court. So when you sit down, then you are able to get a middle ground.
Our mantra at Property Show: before signing the dotted line, you must work with your legal counsel. Due process is what determines the success of any transaction. Up next, the accessory spot. Let's see how you can give your space a contemporary look with a brush of paint. Recently, we caught up with two young brothers determined to change the face of interior design with unique, textured and friendly paints. Let's hear more.
The paint depot is a home for paint. So we try to offer all kinds of paints, both interior, exterior. We also offer normal and decorative paints. So basically, Paint Depot is where you can find anything for your house. If you want paint, you can find it here.
We decided to major in this because we have come to realize that in this time and age, in this paint market, mainly people are focusing on just doing normal paints, silk finish, matte finish. But then we want to juice it up a little bit and introduce this new product called silk coat paints that really has mainly decorative paints. We source these paints from Turkey. Our product is very high quality. It's Kshs certified and it's EU standard. And as you know, to be European standard, you have to have very high quality materials. And the good thing with our product is it doesn't have smell, so you can apply it even in a hospital, you can apply it in your home when you're there. You don't have to leave your house, and it's biodegradable and very good for interior working.
Kenya has very good products for paint especially. We have very good products here, but we wanted to see what more we can offer the market other than what is already here. So that is why we went out of our way to get something that is not already in the market.
We have been in the market for a year now, and so far every market has its own challenges, but then we can say we are doing really well for a start.
And the market is very receptive. We actually love how receptive it is. We have had to change the paint so many times because people come here a lot and they see what they can do with their houses. So we don't want them to see the same thing over and over again. Most times when people walk into the shop, they're like, wow. So it's very good, and we like that we can offer people that. And we want people to have that wow effect every time they enter their houses. There's some few challenges here and there, but we've been able to manage them very well, and we can only say we're growing more and more by the day. The major challenge for us was credibility. People didn't know the paints because they were new in the market. So to get people to be able to use the paint was a big issue. So yeah, the convincing part is the best, but once people start using our paints, they love them and they go on with them all the way.
For our paints, because they're European Union standards, there they don't use lead for making the paint. That makes it very environmental friendly. And now that we have discovered that lead really affects people with stories like cancer, we can hear such stories. And because of such notes, we took to ourselves to look for companies that don't have that lead in their products. That's why our paint is very environmental friendly and very biodegradable. For our paints, actually, you can even touch it and it won't harm you.
It's not corrosive.
Yeah, it's not corrosive at all in your arms. And you can remove it easily. And even children can play with it and it won't affect them at
Waterproof.
Yeah. And the good thing is all our paints are water-based, and that gives it a very high advantage.
The paints have certain qualities. For example, the coverage. The coverage for this paint is very high. It makes it very economical to use the paints. And the paints also have a very good opacity. Opacity basically means the covering capacity, how well it can hide the walls. So the higher the opacity, the less the coat you need for any product. So our paints have very good covering capacity and opacity. So that makes them very, very economical. We have one product, it's called liquid wallpaper. It's very unique in the market. So the advantage of this paint is over and above the fact that it comes with many shades and it has a very good texture. It has a very soft, fluffy texture. Once you apply it on the wall and you've had it for a couple of years and you want to change, you can always remove it without the paint harming the wall. So you can remove the paint from the wall and it will not affect your wall.
Actually, for such paints, it's really good for us young people who want a lavish lifestyle. So you buy just one packet, you paint it, and you have no questions with the landlord. When you want to leave, you just pour water on your wall, and then you scrap it off, package it, and in your new house, you just paste it. So you can move with the paint. It's a really new product in the market. We haven't seen it anywhere else. So I can recommend it for anyone. So for our product, we have painters who we have trained to do all these paints. And then for some of the paints, like that paint called liquid wallpaper, we can actually show a client how to do it, and they can do it for themselves. That's how we even go to saving costs for application purposes. Because right now, you know, labor is very expensive. For a fundi, they may charge 1,000, 2,000 for just applying one wall. But then we will show you how to do it here, and afterwards you can go do it yourself.
Stay tuned every week as we continue to explore more ways to spruce up our spaces. We are taking a short break. When we come back, I'll be sharing insights on whether buying property off-plan is a myth or a reality, an update on our upcoming bus tour, an interesting twist of getting onto the property ladder.
And you don't necessarily live in that home. You don't have to live in that home, but a home or a house is one of those things that you need to have in that basket. So we don't live in that house. However, it's there.
Plus other investment options available in the market. Don't go away, keep it Property Show. Welcome back. You're watching The Property Show. One of the questions I'm asked all the time is whether buying property off-plan is a myth or a reality, and how it really works. Let me break it down. Today's developers are introducing new benchmarks, selling projects off-plan. This revolution is changing the face of real estate, allowing many to buy before breaking ground. It also gives one an opportunity to personalize the interiors, but more importantly, get a payment plan spread over the construction period. Let's take a behind-the-scene look at one such project we have seen unfolding before our eyes and the milestones achieved so far, Oak Park Estate. Remember, when you're buying property off-plan, you're technically buying a dream. Let's tick the boxes together that tells you that a project is on the right track. First, you're buying drawings and a piece of land. Tick. Secondly, we break ground and the journey begins. This is after signing and agreeing on stipulated terms in the contract. Tick. Many events are then hosted, highlighting the progress of the development. At this point, you interact with the developers as you get to know your neighbors. It is also at this point you request the areas you'd want to personalize. It is clear the project is on course. Another tick.
Because of the rapid urbanization, the increasing middle income, the improved infrastructural development by the government, and of course, with the Big Four agenda, housing being one of them, we are determined to offer affordable, modern and functional housing solutions.
Confidently say, indeed, Oak Park Estate has unfolded before our eyes and is now in the final construction stages. We expect a handover ceremony to the respective buyers by the end of first quarter. Watch this space, another tick. Let me finish by saying, most projects experience bumps and challenges along the way. The best way to tackle this is to make sure communication lines are open at all times. We shall continue highlighting behind-the-scene look on other off-plan projects featured on this platform. Advantages of spending a day on the bus tour, hopping from one property to another. First, interaction with the developers on each project. Secondly, a chance to socialize with other people looking to get onto the property ladder. Finally, the ABCs on the legal and financial aspect of buying property.
The red flags that a potential homeowner should look out for when purchasing a property are many and varied and dependent on the transaction. For instance, you carry out a search at land's office and the file is missing. You know, there's a story after another story after another story. A seller who comes and says, I'm selling on behalf of someone else. Those are the red flags.
The most common mistake that a potential homeowner will make is to engage the developer very early, pay the deposit before they even know they qualify for the loan facility they are seeking.
The bus tour benefits me quite a lot because there are many places I would not visit on my own, but when you have this bus tour, all corners are there for you, and therefore you are well exposed. I would encourage those who have not been, because it's an eye-opener, and sometimes you really don't know what to do with the money you have, but there's an offering for you if you take the bus tour. I would definitely encourage them.
Our next bus tour is around the corner, and this time it's packed with projects in every price range. Book your seats today. Last week, I caught up with Rina, who shared an interesting twist on her journey to home ownership. Let's see how this conversation unfolded. When it comes to starting the home ownership journey, everyone has a different story. Today, we get to hear another perspective. Karibu sana on the show.
Thank you so much, Nancy. It's such a pleasure to be here.
It's such a pleasure to be with you.
I love what you're doing with the property show.
Thank you.
We're learning so many things, so thank you.
Thank you so much. Tell us, who is Rina and how did you begin your home ownership journey?
Yeah. So I am an investment banker. I also am an author, and I run, I like to call it a movement, a brand called MoneyWise, where we help people become more financially literate. And I work at an investment bank called Faida Investment Bank. I'm a mom, I have 3 children, and I'm married as well.
Wow,
Yes.
wow. Let's talk about MoneyWise. What are you doing and how are you helping people get their feet on money matters?
Yeah, so MoneyWise came about as a result of my own experience. You know, I started out not knowing anything about money like we all do, went to university, and had to pay for my own upkeep. My parents, at that time had said that, you need to take care of yourself because we only have enough money to take care of tuition and books. The rest, please, just get a job. We'll give you money for 6 months, and the rest of the time you have to sort yourself out. And I was like, it's easy. I'll sort it out, and I can handle this. And unfortunately, I had not handled my own money by the time I was going to university. And I ate out because I hated to cook. I ate out all the time, spent all the money in all the different malls and just had fun, experiencing.
Where was this?
It was in Australia. And so 4 months in, I had run out of money completely, to a point I did not have food to eat. And that experience was horrible, without going into too much detail. But I vowed that I would never, ever in my entire life get to that point where I'm completely desperate, that I will eat from a bin, So I just started to just have a hunger to understand, how does money work? How do I save? How do I budget? How do I make sure that I plan for my future? And that even if I'm not, filthy rich, I end up comfortable and I ensure that I have sorted out my retirement and I live a comfortable life financially. And so that's where the journey sort of started. And through the mistakes I made even after that, just learning how to master this game and how do I invest and how do I save. And then just realizing I'm not alone. And so whenever I'd meet clients when I started to work in the financial sector, I'd be like, they want to come and buy shares, for example. I'd be like, okay, so what else are you doing with your money? And I'd spend so much time with clients and they'd be like, come, talk to us in my chama, come to our church, the Kenya Anglican Men's Association are doing this or the other. And as a result, wrote articles and then started to write a book. One thing led to another. And so when it came to the point of launching my book, I was heavily pregnant with my third child, didn't have money or time or energy, as you can imagine, to do a launch that would make sense for the press to come and be excited about. Nobody knew me, so it's not like I'm a celebrity who would attract all this press. And so my publisher at the time said, you know what, Rina, everybody globally, she happens to be Filipino, she said everybody globally is going online and using social media to publicize their books. So I would really recommend that you go online as well. Go on social media, give people advice for free, every so often, and then you build a following. And so that's what I did. And so that's how Moneywise, the channel, was born. And so it's grown now, it's grown. And what's amazing for anybody out there wondering, does social media make sense? It makes absolute sense, irrespective of whether you're a banker, a farmer, people
started your journey.
Or starting your it doesn't
university.
Matter. The way to remain relevant, Nancy, in anything that you do, even if you have a shop somewhere, is to be on social media telling people or helping people with their needs. Because people will relate and buy from people who they can relate with. Yes. People whose stories they like to hear. But when you sit and say, come and buy my product, and these are the perfect things about my product, people are like, yeah, whatever. But if you tell them your story and you're teaching them, they kind of relate with you better. So I've learned a lot from being on this journey. And yeah, so that's where Moneywise came from. In fact, I bought you a copy of my book. Wow. Yeah.
Create, Grow, and Preserve Wealth.
Yes.
That's the book. Is it available in the stores?
It is. It's available at Textbook Center. It's also available on MyMOOC. MyMOOC is an online platform. It's available on Amazon and also on Kindle.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow, this is so encouraging.
Thank you.
I will read it and I'll give you my feedback.
Super. Thank you.
Let's talk about your home ownership journey.
Okay.
At what point did you begin the journey? What influenced the journey? And where are you with your home ownership journey?
Yeah. I guess, from the start, my husband and I have always wanted to own property, and even when we rent and look at how much we're paying in rent, we're always like, oh my gosh, if we just put all this money from the time we started, we'd own our own home. And so an opportunity arose early in our marriage where my mom and auntie were looking at some apartments, and she said to me, you need to look at this. And so I saw it. The location was perfect. And the price wasn't too bad, but unaffordable for us at the time, which meant we would need to take a loan. But I knew in my mind that there's no way I'm taking a mortgage, because first of all, the challenges with getting a mortgage and having to, so first of all, the opportunity came at the point when this was, what can I say? It was not yet constructed. It was off plan. Yes, that's what it's called, off plan. And so getting a mortgage off plan is not quite possible. You know, it's still an idea. You don't have any, the value, what are the valuers valuing? You know what I mean? So I knew it would be a challenging journey. My husband loves Excel. So when he did the spreadsheet to see how much would we end up paying in a typical mortgage in terms of all the different costs that would come in, it ended up being quite a lot. And so we found a way of still getting a loan, but from family resources as opposed to getting it through the bank. And so, yeah, so we managed to get it, and it's the best thing we ever did. And I think real estate is great. And owning a home is security. You know how, well, I always say you have to have certain categories in your investments. You have to have security. And there's certain things that go into that security basket, and a home is one of them. And you don't necessarily live in that home. You don't have to live in that home, but a home or a house is one of those things that you need to have in that basket.
Every home ownership experience is special and unique, with a few lessons here and there that come in handy for all of us. What's your story? Just give us a call and I'll be at your doorstep. It's time to check out other investment options available in the market, the Property Gallery.
Gitanga duplexes are a modern development located in the heart of Lavington off Gitanga Road. Privileged by its exquisite design and opulent finishes, this elegant residence offers 36 four-bedroom ensuite duplexes. Accommodation includes lower level, spacious living room, dining room, fitted kitchen with detached pantry, guest bedroom on select units, doobie area with washing machine provisions, and exterior storage for gas tanks. Upper level, spacious master ensuite bedroom with walk-in closet, 2 bedrooms ensuite, TV or family room which can be turned into a 5th bedroom. Salient features include 2 car parking spaces per unit, low maintenance fully glazed UPVC windows, balconies with panoramic views, carbo-paved driveways, guardhouse, underground and overhead water tanks.
Shiloh Riverside Place, the blueprint of contemporary living, is situated in one of the most sought-after neighborhoods, Riverside Drive. It has 24 3-bedroom apartments and 4 penthouses. They provide comfortable and spacious living space. Accommodation includes foyer entrance, spacious lounge with dining area, guest cloakroom, open-plan fully equipped kitchen with ample storage, doobie or utility area, DSQ, 3-bedroom all-en-suite with fitted wardrobes. Master bedroom has his and hers walk-in closet, bathtub and shower. Salient features include electric fence, perimeter wall, 24-hour CCTV camera surveillance, 24-hour security guards, ample parking, gym, borehole, swimming pool, individual wireless internet connected in every apartment, and standby generator. Price on inquiry.
Woodley Springs is located off Gong Road within a pristine gated neighborhood having a close proximity to major businesses. The development comprises of 29 3-bedroom units having a plinth area of 150 square meters and 155 square meters with master ensuite and DSQ, as well as 15 2-bedroom units with master ensuite having a plinth area of 89 square meters. Accommodation includes a foyer entrance, living room, large French windows, dining area, modern kitchen with granite tops and fitted cupboards, laundry area, master ensuite with high-spec fitted bathroom, and domestic quarters. Salient features include 24-hour security, perimeter wall with electric fence, basement parking, rooftop entertainment area, high-speed lifts, gym, borehole, water treatment plant, CCTV, DSTV, backup generator and a provision for solar water heating system. Prices: 2-bedroom units are 10.5 million Kenya shillings and their rental income is 50,000 Kenya shillings per month.
Every week on the Property Gallery, we highlight projects across the market. If you're looking to take the first step, visit our offices and we'll be happy to guide you. Thank you for watching The Property Show. See you next week as we take advantage of future trends and patterns driving the real estate sector. Let's keep this conversation going on our social media handles. Till next week, as always, there is something for everyone. Kwaheri.